Hey everybody, I'm doing a quick, pretty quick. I think it took me in real time, 18 minutes, and I've sped it up a bit to 9 minutes. And I had no idea what I was doing with this. I had a vague idea of using a lot of just starting with a black canvas and a girl kind of in a hood, and trying to simplify drawing it by using the black area to just instead of drawing in the cloak and the hood, focusing on the face and then just suggesting the hood. So this is kind of where I started. I'm in the wrapping up a issue of GI Joe right now, so this is kind of my taking a little break to keep the gears turning as far as actual drawing because I'm just inking GI Joe. So I'm just right here. I mean, sometimes it's good to do things that are out of your comfort zone. Like right here, I'm drawing them with huge shapes instead of really lines, and just something different to kind of get the creative wheels turning a bit. So it's uh, not uh, the mindless sketching that I usually do. And that's one of the dangers of always keeping a sketchbook is that I realized that I go to just relax drawing the same kinds of things I always draw, like heads, for example. Like, and here I am right here drawing a head, but in a sketchbook, you have to make yourself draw things that are not the easiest things for you to draw. So if you have trouble drawing hands, you fill up a sketchbook or several pages full of hands or cars or whatever it is. Um, if when you sit down and draw your sketchbook, the first thing that you want to draw is probably the thing that you don't need the most practice on, because the reason it's fun for you to draw is because you're not struggling with it. Uh, and those things are fine, but if that's all you do, you're not going to get any better. So, I have things I need to work on. And I've fallen into the trap lately of just, vegging out and going on automatic and drawing kind of the same things over and over again. So, uh, this little experiment here, just playing with layers and lighting and stuff in this drawing, was a good kind of mental exercise in getting out of the comfort zone. So, yesterday I talked about in my video where I drew the red haired girl, about when to uh, start doing commissions. And someone asked, how do you set pricing for that? That's a tougher question. The short answer is if you set a price and someone agrees to pay it, then that's what it's worth. But I would say just starting out of the gate, because I priced things really low in the beginning, like 20, $30. I would say enough to be worth doing it, but no more than that to start out. So just think to yourself, what would I like to get realistically? What's the bottom end of what is worth it to spend the time doing this? And just, start there. But, keep in mind, how the size of the paper, how many characters does the person want? All these different factors. I even still have seriously underpriced things at times. I've done huge pieces with multiple characters and charged a couple $100, and then halfway through thought I should have charged 500 or 600 for this. And sometimes though, I'll if I want to experiment with something, there's a couple transformer pieces I've done where I wanted to experiment with doing just no line, just a tonal, like almost kind of a painted piece, but using markers. And so I charged somebody to experiment. I said, "Here's what I'm going to do. I'll charge you a normal price, like $100." And then I did it a couple times, and when I finished, it was like, okay, the price point of this is at least 300. But I was fine with that because I was basically getting paid to experiment. So, like I am here on this drawing here, I've gone in here and I'm played with the lighting and basically used the lighting to kind of um, establish her form of her body and the cloak. And one of the things too that if you want to guide someone's eye to a certain point, put more detail on that point, and then just be real sketchy with the details, or impressionistic with the details outside of that focal point. So you can see down towards the bottom of the canvas there where things get fuzzy with the lights washing it out. The back of her head, clearly her eyes are the focal point of, and her face are the focal point of the sketch. And I mean, this is the kind of thing. This is almost a borderline kind of painterly kind of thing I unexpectedly turned out, which means I could finagle with this for 3 days. Yeah, I'm just kind of improvising and just trying to figure out what's next here. I'm not completely sure with where it's going, but just playing with some of the lighting effects and things. And here I'm adding a little color to her cheeks and her nose, and but this really turned out to be an experiment, and just creating a point of interest, and then suggesting effectively the costume and just everything outside of it. So that makes sense. But as far as the commission question goes, that's what I would do. What's it worth it to you, and how can you best what's the best use of your time? What's worth it? And like I said, so it's a personal call. Trying to make it a little more interesting here with some lighting effects and things, and I realized the further I went with this, the more like a witch she kind of looked. It wasn't intentional. It was just supposed to be kind of an atmosphere of, I guess, a mysterious thing, and this is kind of what happened. So, another thing about commissions too is if you take them at home, you can do a little bit better jobs. I mean, a commission you do in your studio is going to be a little bit better quality because you can spend time on it than it is at a convention. So maybe you want to price those a little higher. You just kind of have to feel out how well and how fast you can get things done at a convention, or versus home, how well you can make them when you're at home, and you can get reference and take your time, and really put a lot of effort into it that you just it's hard to do at a con when people are interrupting you. I mean, and it's just not a good, I've said before, it's not a good working environment with lighting, and just you're off schedule, and it's not a comfortable situation. But for me anyway, it's harder to do a nicer piece there. Things tend to be more sketchy at a con than at home here. So here I'm playing with a little bit of what this is. Started out being little strands of hair, but then I realized maybe it's also kind of just a design, little lighting effect in the background, just to give it a little more interest. And that's about I'm almost about to wrap this one up. Zooming in a little bit here, I made her eyes a little lighter around. I put the pupil back in. If I wanted to really make her look just kind of otherworldly, sinister, I would have probably whited or washed out the pupils a little bit. That would have made a big difference, just as far as that kind of vibe. But now here I'm just at the point where it's like I should stop before I make this look a whole lot worse. Anyway, it's a little different than some of my other things. Subscribe. There's a little bell if you subscribed and aren't getting notifications. Hit the little bell below the video that'll let you be notified when I upload things. And click on the links below for my website, my webcomic, and different things. And I will see you next time.